Late in the year, ice becomes the enemy of the open water walleye troller. When ice starts appearing at the boat launch sites, sadly, the softwater fishing season is about to come to a screeching halt. This week on Fishing 411 TV, Mark Romanack invites Bryan Darland of Jay's Sporting Goods to break a little ice in an effort to squeeze in one last walleye trip on Saginaw Bay. Mark and Bryan slow troll using crankbaits and offshore tackle planer boards en route to boating an impressive catch of late-season walleye. Less than 24 hours after this episode was filmed, you guessed it, Saginaw Bay was covered in ice, and the 2022 open water season was in the books.
About 55. Get him, Chad. There we go. Take this one out of your way here.
Well, that didn't take long.
No, I'm afraid not.
He's on. Fish on the bandit.
All I can say, Bryan, is Happy New Year.
Almost, right?
That's right. It's
2
New
hours
Year's
away.
Eve. I can start saying Happy New Year's anytime now.
This feels like a sizable one. He's a big decent fish. Oh, no. Hey, we're good. We're good.
Oh, he was coming towards you. Let me duck down and get your board off there for you.
Grab that.
You're good, sir.
Alrighty. Hey, decent little chunk. I slapped a little Pro Cure on the back, a little emerald shiner, and guess what?
Smelled good, tastes
Apparently
good.
he liked it.
All right, that's going to be looking like an E-class fish right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's thick.
Check that out. Start of the day.
Not bad.
That's a good way to begin December 31st.
I'm with you there. Your dad said he wanted a couple for the table day?
Absolutely.
Throw it in the cooler up here. It'll
Absolutely.
be just perfect. Our guest today was Bryan Darland from Jay's Sporting Goods. We've had Bryan on a number of different TV shoots. He's a great guy to fish with. He's a very knowledgeable fisherman in the real deal. Not everybody that works in the fishing industry is a fishing enthusiast, but I can tell you with 100% confidence that Bryan is a fishing enthusiast. He loves it as much as we do. If they keep doing this for us today, we'll be happy campers. So I believe this one is on the Husky Jerk, so a different flavor. A different flavor indeed. Bryan, you might want to pop a waypoint there behind me.
Okay.
Just because we can.
We have the technology.
Well, we've got a nice track here. We've had 3 bites and we haven't had our lines in the water 10 minutes, so that's not a bad thing.
It's true.
Sir. That was 55 back on the Husky jerk.
All right.
This one's looking a little thicker than
That's a
yours
nice
was,
fish.
but it's not monstrous by any stretch of the imagination. I'll keep him coming just like that. I think he's half frozen.
I think he's in. That's a fat fish.
It is a fat fish. Let's take a look at that. A little bit more chunky. I love fish this time of year. These walleyes in December, they get those fins stick up there like that. That fish would look like that for 20 minutes if you wanted it to. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it when the fins are all sticking up and they got a big old crankbait in their mouth. I love it.
Special considerations are provided by Cisco Fishing Systems and Striker brands. Go early, go late, go prepared. Special considerations provided by Fishhawk Electronics and Daiwa Corporation.
Oh man, I love it. I absolutely love it. We're not calling our shots, but we're definitely having some steady action here. There's no doubt about that. So I can remember it wasn't that many years ago that people didn't fish late in the season for walleyes. So it's really a tickle. This tickles me to see that folks have discovered that walleye will bite whenever you can get out on the water. And you saw from this morning, the intro and coming out, how much ice we had to break to get out here just to find open water. But the beauty of it is, if you can find water flat enough to put a boat in, or I should say soft enough to put a boat in, you can catch walleyes. Very cool.
Well, we're getting close there. I'll go ahead and grab that board for you
I
once it gets
appreciate
up
that for you,
closer.
Brian. This one I don't think is a large fish, but it's a solid fish.
Another steady
Yeah.
one?
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Oh yeah, getting some nice head shakes out of him. Got that beautiful walleye mouth sitting up there. Now, every one of my lures on this side has gotten bit. That's a good thing.
That was a good sign.
He's a little better than I thought he was.
That's a quality fish.
And just thick. I mean, they're talking about catching 10-pound fish. We've been talking to friends of ours. They're saying that Saginaw Bay is cranking some 10-pound fish. I would love to see that today, but honestly, this is what I came to catch. This is what I expected we would get. 18 to 24-inch fish is what this fishery has become known for. Lots of them, high-quality fish, good eating fish. Just a great destination of a person that just loves to catch walleyes. Well, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give walleye fishermen that are using crankbaits is trust your electronics. When we first set up, we were seeing some fish down deep, which didn't surprise us because in cold water like this late in the season, those fish are going to relate to the bottom. So we set the majority of our rig close to the bottom. Now, as we've gone here, we're starting to see a few more fish that are higher in the water column, and so we're looking at a little bit more water. So we have to adapt. We have to have some baits up, and we're going to have some baits down. So don't be afraid to move that stuff around. It only takes seconds to bring a lure in and reset it. And to run it at any depth that you need to run it at. So wherever you're seeing those fish, that's where you need to be presenting your baits to be consistently successful.
That one really dumped back.
You peg that board. Look at that board
yeah,
underwater. That's a good sign. That is a very good sign.
Oh, he's a solid one. He can feel him just pulling down there. I just switched that bait out. I put that chrome-based fruit dots out with your favorite little procure on there too, a gizzard shad.
This body of water is, this time of year it gets a lot of gizzard shad in it. They all pack in down here by the river mouth, and because the river's a little bit warmer water and they like it down here. So the walleyes come down this time of year, they're going to see a lot of gizzard shad, so they get used to eating them. Oh, that is a solid fish.
This is a good fish here.
That's a solid fish. I'm going to stay right here in the rock and roll position. Oh yeah,
right.
Nicely done, Brian, nicely done.
Good fish. That's a good fish.
I love it.
That's a good fish.
That one's a little bloody. We might want to keep him, even though that would be a spawning grade fish, but I hate to release a fish that's actually bleeding. The other side there's got a little bit of blood on him. So oh, bummer.
Oh darn! I guess we're gonna have to fillet him up, huh?
Your dad will be all bummed about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, fishing late in the season is awesome from the perspective that you get some great fishing opportunities, but there's also some downsides to it. It's freezing at night, and so if you leave water in your boat, it's going to freeze and it can damage your boat. If you leave water in your live wells, you can literally have water freeze in your live wells. The lids of your dry storage compartments can freeze shut, and you can't even get into them to get your rods and stuff out. So there's some practices that you're going to have to look at if you're going to fish late in the season. The ideal scenario is to have a heated garage where you can pull your boat in, let it sit there where it's warm and not have to worry about everything's going to dry out, everything is going to thaw out. If you don't have that, the other option you can look at is just putting a propane heater inside your boat, keeping it away from the sides, of course, where it's not going to damage anything, and leaving that run for a few hours to try to melt the snow off, melt the ice off, try to do that. The other thing you absolutely have to do is you have to have that plug out of your boat. You got to drain every drop of water out of the boat that you can. If any water is in your live well, same thing, you've got to drain that out. And you can even use an air hose and you can blow some of that water out of those lines as well, because if you leave it in there, it will freeze, and if it freezes, you're going to have problems with your boat. So if you're going to fish late in the season, there's a little bit of late season maintenance you have to do to make sure that your boat's going to function every day on the water.
Special considerations are provided by Precision Trolling Data and the Lake St. Clair Walleye Association. Special considerations provided by the Ultimate Sport Show Tour, Michigan's elite sport shows. Eagle Claw presents the 411 on fishing.
You know, one of the things at Fishing 411 is we rig all of our own boats as far as electronics go. And the reason I do that is I like to set these boats up specific to the type of boat. Now, if you've watched Fishing 411 before, you've seen us fish in a multitude of different style boats, whether it's a walleye style, multi-species boat, or a big boat like I'm in today, the X220. All of them are a little bit different in how we set up the electronics. Now, with a Great Lake style boat, what I really like to do is set up a graph or a unit at the back of the boat. And the reason for that is if you're trolling, you're spending the majority of your time at the back of the boat. The nice thing about having a graph at the back is when I'm back setting lines, I can easily see if I'm marking fish. I can see where the boat is as far as where the chart plotter goes. It's just really nice to have a unit right there at the tip of your fingers. But one of the questions I get asked a lot is, does this unit at the back of the boat have to have a separate transducer, a separate power cord? How do I hook the unit up at the back of my boat? And it's extremely simple. Basically, all I'm doing for my back unit is I'm running a power cord, a direct lead from the battery directly to the unit, so that has its own power source. And then what I'm doing is I'm running an Ethernet cord, and in this case I'm running a 20-foot Ethernet cord from this back unit all the way up to the console, plugging into the console unit. Now, the reason I do that is that's kind of my house unit, we'll call, and I have the transducers coming into the unit at the console itself, and then I'm running an Ethernet cord from the console back to this back unit. Now, everything that happens on the front console is displaying on the back unit. In this case, it's not necessarily a sonar unit as much as it is a separate display screen, being able to show you everything that's at the console at the back of the boat. I tell you what, when you're on the water all day long, trolling long hours, it really is nice to have a unit right here at the tip of your fingers at the back of the boat.
I'm afraid that one didn't stick. But you know what? There is something going on here, though, Brian. I'm noticing that most of my bites are coming on the higher bait, so I'm gonna. Yeah. I have not caught a fish on a bait near bottom here in a while, so I'm gonna start bringing everything up.
One thing about fishing in this kind of environment is you have to be able to adapt all the time. Mark's actually talking about putting his baits even a little bit higher in the column than what we've been fishing even all morning, and we've made a few adjustments here and there, but right now we're finding that the bites are coming even higher yet. It's an overcast day. Maybe the fish are pulling up a little bit. You know, as the temperature rises a little bit, the surface water might get a little warmer. Maybe that's what's happening. So I think that's a great call. I'm going to rip one of my rods in here and do the same thing. We'll take that. Well, he dropped her right back, too.
Oh, yeah.
Get them tight. Get that clicker off. That's a good fish. He's got a pretty good pull to it.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's there. You know, in this cold water, these fish have been a little bit sluggish on the bite, it appears. The ones that we have landed have been on the back hooks. And we keep having some pullbacks, and then the boards will come back forward. So it makes you think that the fish just aren't quite as aggressive eating it, and they're not wanting to hook up real well. But this one's on so far.
Kind of the way I look at it, when the water's 2 degrees away from freezing, these fish are going to be a little lethargic. So I think it just comes with the territory. Fortunately, there's enough fish here that you're going to sort through. You're going to miss a few, but you're going to sort through enough and get your fish. There you go, Brian. I'll stay right where I'm sitting here. Looks like he wants to go to the other side.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
We'll let him.
Let him go where he wants to go. That's a very nice fish. That was definitely worth waiting for.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at the belly on that fish. Look at that fish. I love it. Quality. Nice quality fish.
Thick right through there.
Yeah,
Putting some weight on, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I guess that's what happens when you have a steady diet of gizzard shad. You get fat.
Absolutely.
So,
what's great is, look how that thing ate that.
Yeah, that one wasn't coming unbuckled.
No.
No.
It's all three in him. All right. Good quality fish. Okay, well, late in the season like this, or even early in the season when the water is cold, we tend to look for baits that have a lot of action, a lot of wobble to them at slower speeds. I mean, right now we're only going 1.1 to 1.2 miles an hour. But what we tend to find, or what we tend to look for with a lot of baits, is with our color selection. People ask, well, how do you know what color to go with? Well, there's some pretty basic rule of thumb that you can kind of go with. When the water has a little color to it, you want something that's a little more solid. So your solid type colors, what I mean by that is you'll see a chartreuse belly on some, you'll see an orange belly on others, and you'll see white bellies on others. When that bait's sitting there swimming and it's looking this way, what do those fish see as they're coming up to it? Yeah, they see the side profile as it comes by, but then when they're getting ready to eat it, sometimes that's your trigger. That tends to be kind of the thing that we look for when we put these baits in the water, is those distinctions of different colors.
Special considerations provided by Bill Lewis Lures. Special considerations are provided by Procure, ruthlessly effective bait scents.
I think we might have got back into them again. You know, picking up and making another run is turning out to be a good idea here. It's taken us a few seconds to get back on our line, but we have had steady action here ever since that. So it's a beautiful thing. Most people want to turn around and just troll back the way they came, and I understand that. They want to keep their lines in the water. But boy, it is very difficult to control your speed when you're going against the current or going against the wind. And even though it's a modest wind today, I still think we made the right call. It's paying off for us. It definitely is paying off right now. And since Brian is busy, I'm just going to take this off myself. This is pretty easy. I can just unsnap it right there. If my fingers weren't so darn cold, there we go. Just keeping it nice and taut so the fish stays buckled up. So you can take the board off yourself if your partner's too busy to help you. So this is heavy fish, Brian. I'll tell you what I will take your help on though, is landing it. I think that we might need that. Unless he's hooked funny, this is a solid fish.
That is a very good fish. I don't know if the net's big enough, Mark.
Net's a little bit small, but you'll make it happen. I got confidence in you, Brian.
Oh yeah, look at that one.
That's one of Saginaw Bay's finest right there.
That's a good one.
I knew it was going to be a good fish because the way the board went back so hard.
I was just kind of being lazy and helping him out and getting his other net, fish netted and whatnot. And you know what? There's this one right here, right up tight to the boat. Pretty funny.
You gonna need a landing net there, Brian?
Maybe.
Well, this is gonna be interesting. I got a fish in one hand. I'm gonna net another one with the other hand. Look at here.
You know what that is?
That's a Saginaw Bay at its finest.
That's good. That's a good problem to have, is what that is.
That is a very good problem there. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
One for the tank and one for live release.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah. Where you go, little girl. Man, we're having a great day here. Let's talk a little bit about trolling lines, braid versus monofilament. They're both great trolling lines, and you can use both of them for exactly what we're doing today. We have monofilament on our rods today, and I tend to be a monofilament guy. I like the properties that monofilament brings to the party, and it works very well with the releases that come on the offshore boards. The OR19 on the front here is perfect for monofilament. On the back, I've got an OR16, which also works very, very well for monofilament. If you're a braid guy, you can still use planer boards, but you're going to have to change the releases that you use. So when I recommend is something made by Silverhorn. It's called the Sam's Pro Release. It's designed specifically to be used with braid. So what is the advantage of braid? Well, it is a little bit more expensive, but it has a lot less stretch, so you get good hookup ratios with it. And even though it's more expensive, it lasts longer than mono. So it really comes down to a personal choice. Are you a mono guy? Are you a braid guy? They both work. They're both effective platforms for catching fish when you're trolling for walleyes.
So what's your favorite bait?
It's called Fruit Loops, right? At least today it's called Fruit Loops. And it has been a good bait today, there's no question about it. I took it out of the water for a while. I'm not sure why I took it out of the water. It was catching fish and I took it out of the water to try something else. You can tell the fishing's too good when you're willing to take good lures out of the water. And I finally put it back in. It hasn't been in there a minute, literally. I just walked away from the board. So that's cool. I guess I have to, gotta stick with it. Thank you, Brian.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't know.
They're a good quality fish.
Oh, he's just barely hooked on.
Yeah.
Look at that. He is just barely hooked. Thank you, Brian. Nicely done.
That's a good one there.
Nicely done. Brian!
Look at that.
Man, we've had a great day. Hey, my name is Mark Romanack, and you've been watching Fishing 401. I'd like to thank Bryan Darland for coming out and showing us some fun today out in Saginaw Bay. Get a chance, check out Jay's Sporting Goods at Clare and in Gaylord. You'll find they got the stuff you need to catch lots of fish.
Closed captioning is provided by Lakeside Motorsports, Michigan's premier marine and power sports company. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Lowrance Electronics, Starcraft Marine, Yamaha Outboards, Yakima Bait Company, Niagara Falls, USA, Smooth Moves, Bill Lewis Lures, and Jay's Sporting Goods.
I love it. Quality. Nice quality fish.
Thick right through there.
Yeah,
Putting some weight on, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I guess that's what happens when you have a steady diet of gizzard shad. You get fat.